Wonderful. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this beautiful Monday, whatever it is for you. It's noon here in Southern California where I am. I don't know how everybody else is feeling today, but for me, this is re-entry day after I really tried to take a break. In the modern world where we have access to communication and work-related things all of the time, setting those boundaries can be a challenge, especially when we love our work and we love to do it and feel called to it. And yet, when we step away, even for a little bit, things kind of grow. And so making that, it can be difficult to transition to vacation and really like shake off the work week. And then it can also be challenging to re-enter. So if any of you are feeling a kind of bumpy re-entry the way that I am, I hope that this offers a little bit of self-care, a little respite, a little break in the middle of the day if you're watching this in real time, or at the end of the day if you're watching it later. And for those who were able to join us yesterday on the live where we talked about self-care as yoga professionals, being able to have these practices that we can incorporate. We talked about yoga snacks, of little things that you can do that don't necessarily require a mat or a 90-minute break in your day, but ways that we can use the practices in little bits and pieces so that they become part of our daily life. I wanted to offer this for that reason, and also as an example for those of you who are interested or thinking about the 200-hour teacher trainer training program that we're offering that allows people who live with arthritis and chronic pain to dive deeper into yoga teachings and practice for all of 2026, or any of our other programs, our continuing education program, our foundations course, that this is just a little bit of a sampling of the kinds of practices that we offer for people who are living with arthritis and chronic pain that can benefit from yoga. And for those of you who don't know me well, not only am I a yoga teacher trainer, yoga therapist, but I'm also a research scientist, and I study the effects of yoga for people living with arthritis and chronic pain. And from those decades of research, I can say that these practices actually do have profound benefit for people living with arthritis and chronic pain, especially when practiced consistently over weeks and months. And in our courses, you learn about the scientific mechanisms behind why do these practices work so well? How do they change not only pain outcomes, but functional outcomes and psychological outcomes and quality of life outcomes? So without further ado, let's get a little bit of practice in for ourselves in this day of transition, and as an example to you of what yoga with arthritis and chronic pain can look like. So I did say all you need is your body, mind, and a chair. So wherever you are, bring yourself into some sort of a seated position. And if you are a yoga professional and you want to do this on the floor and modify the practice for the mat, please feel free to do that. Something that we really hold sacred in Yoga for Arthritis is that all of our teaching, our options, our suggestions, are things to try. You get to decide what's right for you today, you as the world's leading expert of your own body mind. So I'm going to offer these practices seated in, I'm on a sofa, obviously. You could be in any kind of a chair as long as it's stable. So if it's a chair with wheels, you're going to want to make sure that the wheels are locked so that you're not sliding around. And ideally, bring your feet planted on the floor. And so you may want to sit up on a little something like a folded blanket or a pillow, or you might want to put a little stool or something underneath your feet, depending on the height of your chair. And you have an option here to sit back so that your back is supported by the back of the chair, or to sit forward so that you're supporting your own spine with the core musculature of your body. There is no right or wrong. It's yogi's choice. It's what feels right for you today. But in either case, you want to make sure that your spine is long. So if you're sitting back, you want to be in a position that allows you to have a lengthened spine as you're sitting back rather than slouching or leaning back in it. Planting the feet on the floor, you can lift the toes wide, spread, place them back down just to feel a real sense of grounding and connection. Yoga is not only a physical practice, but a lot of the physical practice is also metaphorical and symbolic. So when we press our feet into the ground to feel a sense of grounding and a sense of connectedness and stability, that can really support us as we go through transitions and times that feel like they're a little bit ungrounding. So feel that sense of connectedness to the floor. And then you can think about lining up ankles with knees, knees with hips, hips with shoulders. So you've got a bunch of 90-degree angles approximately here. The shoulders roll back and down. You can feel the crown of head reaching up toward the ceiling, and maybe close your eyes for a moment and just listen to my voice if you feel comfortable doing that. Or you could lower the gaze, soften the gaze. And spend a moment here just feeling this alignment, this stability, this groundedness in what we might call some version of a seated mountain pose. So you can think about embodying that sense of stability of a mountain. And then from here, bring a hand to your abdomen, a hand to the chest, and just notice how the torso moves as you breathe. So we go from noticing the body to noticing the breath, that next subtle layer of ourselves, going from body to that energy layer that's so well understood in Eastern medicine and philosophy. That connection between inner and outer worlds. Every time we breathe, we're drawing in nourishment, and every time we exhale, we're letting go, we're surrendering what we don't need, what doesn't serve us. So we can think about this physiologically, but also metaphorically. What are we taking in and what are we letting go of as we move into this new year together? And maybe as you breathe here, you notice that just by taking a few moments to attend to the breath, it deepens. The torso expands a little bit more with each inhale. Each exhale is a little bit slower, bringing our nervous system into a state of calm. Let the hands lower back to your lap, lower the chin toward the chest, and just stretch the back of the neck. Making sure to continue full, deep, easy breath. Take the head up and down and think about what you want to say yes to for the year ahead. To opportunity, to insight, to learning, to contentment, whatever comes to mind for you. Bring the head back to center, turn and look over one shoulder and then the other. And also we get to decide what we want to say no to this year. Overwhelm, frustration, rumination. Bring the head back to center, tilt the head to one side, get a nice stretch in the side of the neck. You can even take an arm across and apply a little bit of pressure to that shoulder to really stretch here and give yourself a little massage. And then lift the head up to center, give it a little wobble, let it drop to the other side. A lot of us hold tension in the shoulders as a place where stress can result in changes in our musculoskeletal system. So being aware of that and attending to it can be helpful. Bring the head back up to center, even as a barometer for how stressed we're feeling. Roll the shoulders back and roll them forward. And as we move through this physical sequence, we're getting a little bit of movement into all of the major muscles of the body that helps to break up the stagnation of being sedentary, shoulders up and down. But it also lubricates all the major joints of the body to reduce stiffness. Extend the arms out in front, wiggle the fingers, open and close the hands. And especially when you're living with arthritis and chronic pain, roll the wrists out, roll them in. The joints can get stiff when we're sedentary for a while. Extend the arms out in front of you. And then we're going to draw one elbow in and then the other. And so as we do this, we're getting a little bit of a twist in the torso. We're moving the shoulder and the elbow. We can even rotate the palm, and now we're moving the major bones of the forearms. And if any of this doesn't feel good to you, adjust it. Make it smaller, make it slower, shake the arms out. And we're going to do a little bit of a windmill, like we're doing a backstroke. Again, make these as small or as large, as slow or as fast as feels good to you. Take them forward. Brush stroke. You feel opening in the heart, so this is almost like a cat-cow, but it's the swim version. You can lower the hands and just do a little cat-cow here, arching and rounding the spine. And then bring the torso back to center. Take one arm up as high as feels comfortable for the shoulder. And then maybe holding onto the side or the arm of the chair, take a little side stretch, and you can feel an opening through this whole side body. And then come up, lower that arm down, reach the other arm up. Big inhale, coordinating breath and movement. Exhale, we take it to the side. Feel a stretch in this side body. And then come up, and we'll do that a few times, coordinating movement and breath. One of the many ways yoga is a union, a unification. Inhale, arm up, exhale to the side. Inhale, arm up, exhale, lower down. And we repeat that the other way. Inhale up, exhale, bend. Inhale up, exhale, lower. Once more each side. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Take a hand to the opposite knee. Lengthen through the spine and look over the shoulder. Just a gentle little twist without pulling or forcing. Keeping nice long spine. Take the opposite arm to the knee. Lengthen through the spine first, creating space between the vertebrae that get compressed during the day. Did you know that when people start practicing yoga, they can grow as much as a half an inch in height just from decompressing the spine? Come back to center. So lengthening the spine at every opportunity is part of our yoga practice. Coming down to the feet, wiggle the toes. Rock front and back on the feet. You can lift up one heel and the opposite toe and then switch like you're doing a little march. Notice if you started to slouch or if you're still sitting up nice and tall. Are you still breathing deeply? Extend a leg out, rotate the wrist out, and then in. Notice that this requires some core strength, especially if you're sitting away from the back of the chair. Lower that one down, extend the other one out. Roll the ankle out, roll it in, and lower it down. And then we're just going to extend one leg and then the other. Notice the tracking of the knee. Notice how you're engaging the major muscles of the legs that help to stabilize and protect the knee joints. And then lower that down. We're going to turn to the side just a little bit in order to get a stretch in the hip flexor. So depending on your chair, you might want to be creative, turning sideways or catty corner, or if you don't have this right here, you can slide the foot behind you there. But we want to get a little stretch in the hip flexor because especially if you're sitting a lot doing desk work, these muscles can get really tight. So it may look like this, it may look like this. Doesn't matter what it looks like. What matters is how it feels in your body. If this is pressure on the low back, you want to drop the tailbone down to engage the core and support the pose. You could stay here holding on to your chair wherever feels good for you. You can take a hand to the opposite knee. You also have a couple of options to go a little bit deeper in this if you choose. You could take a gentle back bend, and that back bend is just really from the ribs up so that we're not adding compression to the low back. Another option is a side bend. So you can bend toward the back of the chair. Notice what feels good to you. And I have a forced arch on my back foot, but you could roll that under so it's untucked, whatever feels best for your body. And then we're going to draw that leg forward, come back to center, give a little stump, and then turn the other way, getting a stretch here. And it may feel different on this side. We are asymmetrical beings. And so acknowledging that and allowing our yoga practice to be asymmetrical is an important part of accepting our bodies as they are and working with them for what they can do. So from here, again, you have the option to take a hand to the opposite knee, hold onto the chair, take a little bit of a back bend, take a side bend. You find what works for you. The idea being that we're getting a little bit of a stretch in these hip flexors that can get tight from a lot of sitting. And then come back, bring this leg back, give it a little stomp. We're going to do another stretch here, and I'm going to offer a couple of options for you. So if you have the range of motion for this, you can take the ankle to the opposite knee. If that's not available to you, you can use another chair or a stool or a block if you have it to take it across to whatever height works for you. But the idea is that you are rotating this thigh outward. I'm going to come up here, sitting up nice and tall. We're getting a stretch in the outside here. So for people who have sciatica pain because they have a tight piriformis, which is a muscle that can press on the sciatic nerve, this is really great. Or if you just have tight hips, this can be helpful. This position in itself may be a stretch, and it's perfectly fine to stay here. And it might look like this for you, and that's fine too. If you have the room and you want to go deeper, you can start to lean forward. What you don't want to do is round the spine, but keep a nice long spine and hinge forward at the hips. So some of you may be bringing your chest down to your leg. This is where I am today. I've got a little bit of a lean. I'm feeling it in the outside of this leg. You might also feel it in the inside of the thigh. You want to make sure that you're able to breathe fully and deeply. If at any point your breath feels short or constrained, it's a cue that maybe you've gone a little bit too far, and it's a signal to come out of it or to back away from that edge. And then rise up, shake the legs out. We'll do that on the other side. Cross it over, sit up nice and tall. You might stay here. You might want to put this foot on a stool or a chair or a block or up on the thigh, sitting up tall here, leaning forward if that's available to you and you choose it. Remember, not everything that's available is the best choice for you today in this moment. So sometimes the most advanced practice is choosing to do less because it requires discernment. It requires mindfulness. It requires letting go of attachment to what it looks like or the labels or judgments that we place on different versions of the pose. And then come up, give that a little shake. And we're going to take a little forward fold as an opportunity to surrender. So this could look a lot of different ways. I'm going to slide back in my chair. And if you have a pillow or a cushion or something like that, you could use it. Or if you're at a desk, you could rest your forehead on the desk. Just taking a moment to lower the head down. It might even be just tucking the chin toward the chest. An opportunity to let go for a moment, to release, to hang forward. If you have the room for it and it feels safe to do so, you could reach down toward your feet, toward the floor. You could also use blocks to take your hands to a block. This may be a stretch, it may not. It may be more about the opportunity to soften, to release, than it is about an actual stretch of the muscles. So you find what feels juicy to you. And then slowly walk the hands up from whatever forward fold you used. We're going to take just a few moments in a little relaxation practice. So you have lots of choices here. If you're in something cushy like I am, you could just lean back. You could put a little cushion under your head. If you're in a chair, you might want to take the chair to the wall and then you can rest your head against the wall. If you're actually near some sort of a sofa like I am, you can actually lay down and get even more comfortable. So you get to decide. You could come down to the floor and lie down on the floor if you would like. So to come down to the floor, you might want to bring your hands to the chair, lower one knee down and then the other, come down to the floor and lie down on the floor if that's your preference. Whatever position you choose, take a moment to just settle in. We're only gonna be here for a short time. And we're gonna lift up all the limbs and the head at once and just squeeze everything tight, tight, tight. This feels counterintuitive maybe, but by tensing all of the muscles of the body, it allows us to relax them even more. Let go, drop. We're gonna do that twice more. Lift everything up, squeeze, 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 tight, tight, tight. And then drop. One more time. Lift everything up, squeeze as tight as you can, tighter, tighter, tighter. Use up all the energy you have, and then let go. Let it drop, adjust. Settle into a position that you can hold for a few moments here, where you're using as little muscle effort as possible to maintain the position, really allowing the body to rest. To relax even further, bring your awareness to the tips of the toes and feel all the muscles of the toes soften. And then allow a sense of relaxation to move up from the feet to the lower legs, the knees, the thighs, the hips and pelvis. The relaxation moves up to the abdomen, the rib cage, chest and back, relaxing the whole torso. Notice the tips of the fingers, feel them soften. And let that relaxation move from the fingertips to the palms, backs of the hands, wrists, up to the forearms, the elbows, the upper arms and shoulders. So the arms can be heavy and relaxed. Slacken the jaw. Let the eyeballs sink into their sockets. All the muscles of the face soften, all the muscles around the skull, so the whole body can relax. And then become aware of the breath and allow the breath to deepen, so that with each exhale, the body relaxes even a little bit more. And then become aware of the mind. Notice any thoughts moving through the mind. And give the mind an invitation to relax, to rest, to just be here for a few moments without anything to do. We'll stay here for a brief moment, just relaxing into this natural state of deep inner peace. And now to deepen the breath again, drawing new energy into the body, wiggle the fingers and toes, maybe stretch, reach, twist, shimmy, shake, wiggle. If you're lying down, use the hands to press yourself up to sitting. If you're sitting with support, come away from that support so you're supporting your own spine. We're going to spend a minute in silent meditation. A lot of people think about the physical practice as important for managing arthritis and chronic pain. Actually, I would say the mental practice is even more important because it changes the way that we process and signal pain between the mind and body. So when we're able to change our brain, we can change our experience of pain. And even more so when it's practiced consistently. So you're going to choose any mental focus that you'd like. We call it an anchor. You can focus on your breath. You can focus on a word that has meaning to you. Maybe it's your resolution or your theme word for 2026 or an aspiration for how you would like to feel today. It can be an image that holds meaning for you. Whatever the focus may be, hold your mind to that focus. And when it gets distracted, because it will, because that's what minds do, the key is to notice that you've gotten distracted and decide to bring your awareness back to your anchor. Yoga is a practice of attention and intention. We have to pay attention to notice what's happening in our own body mind, and then we can use intention to decide what to do about that. So, attention to the wandering of the mind, intention to bring it back to our anchor. And we'll spend 1 minute in the silent meditation of your choice. Bring your mind back from that anchor to this present moment. I hope that you have found this brief little practice to be beneficial. I hope you feel a little bit better than you did before we started, and that maybe you have some reminders or some tools to bring into your day and even to share with others. If you are a person living with arthritis or chronic pain and you would like to dive deeper into the teachings of yoga, especially for people living with arthritis and chronic pain, consider our upcoming 200-hour yoga teacher training program, which isn't only for people who want to teach yoga, though you may. And if you're already a yoga teacher, it might be something that you want to audit, or you might want to check out one of our other programs. If you have any questions about these upcoming programs or about this practice or yoga for arthritis in general, please respond in the comments, reach out to us and let us know. Have a beautiful day. Om Shanti.